Hello, and welcome to Communicate to Lead, the podcast that empowers leaders and aspiring leaders to communicate with clarity and impact. I'm Keely Belton, CEO and successful entrepreneur, and your host for today. I'm here to equip you with all the essential tools and strategies to master effective communication and lead your team to success. As the founder and CEO of The Tailored Approach, my goal is to empower you to be the best leader you can be. So sit back, relax, and join me in today's episode as we dive into the art of communicating like a true leader. Here's a scene that plays out often in December. You're sitting across from your boss, or maybe you're alone at your desk preparing for a big conversation. Someone asks you the question, so walk me through your biggest accomplishments this year. And you freeze for a little longer than you'd like. You start scrambling to remember specifics, or your mind starts racing through a blur of meetings, projects, and moments that all blend together. You know you worked hard. You know you delivered results. But in that moment, you can't remember the details. You can't recall the specifics. You end up underselling yourself, downplaying your impact, and walking away frustrated because you know you accomplished so much more than you could articulate. If you've ever experienced this, or if you're worried it might happen to you this December, I need you to stay with me for the next 15 to 20 minutes. In today's episode, we are discussing how you can capture your wins before they fade from memory, how to build a simple weekly system that makes year-end reviews effortless, and how to turn your accomplishments into compelling stories that showcase your leadership value. Because we both know you are doing incredible work, but if you don't document it, claim it, and learn how to talk about it effectively, it might as well not have happened. Welcome back to Communicate to Lead. I'm Keely Belton. And today we are tackling something critical. Your annual review isn't something that happens in December. It's happening right now in mid-October, whether you are paying attention to it or not. Let's make sure you don't let another year of your hard work disappear into a memory gap. So let's dive in. So let's talk about why this matters so much, especially for you as a woman in leadership. Think of your year like a novel you are writing in real time. Every week, you're adding a new chapter, some exciting, some challenging, all important to the overall story. But here's what happens. You're so busy writing new chapters that you are not taking any time to mark the good parts, the plot twists, the moments where your character, that's you, really showed up. Then December comes around and someone hands you a blank page and says, summarize the whole book. And you are supposed to remember every significant moment, every lesson learned, every obstacle you overcame. But without any notes, without any bookmarks, you are left flipping through blurry memories, hoping something comes back to you. This is what I call the memory gap, that frustrating space between what you actually accomplished and what you can remember accomplishing when it's time to talk about it. And here's what makes this even more challenging for you as a woman in leadership. Research shows that women are already less likely to advocate for themselves and claim their accomplishments compared to their male counterparts. We are socialized to be modest, to be team players, to deflect credit. So not only are we fighting our brain's natural tendencies to forget details, we are also fighting years of conditioning that tells us not to brag. But let me be clear. Documenting your accomplishments isn't bragging. It's being a good steward of your own career. It's taking responsibility for your professional narrative. And it's absolutely essential if you want to be recognized, promoted, and compensated fairly for the work you are actually doing. The other thing that happens when you wait before you document everything, the chaos of November and December hits. You've got year-end deadlines, holiday plans, budget approvals, team parties to attend, family obligations, and suddenly sitting down to thoughtfully reflect on your year feels impossible. So what do? We rush through it, we undersell ourselves, and we walk into those important conversations underprepared. But you and I both know you deserve better than that. And that's exactly why we are having this conversation today in mid-October when you still have time to do this right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through a simple 3-part framework that you can implement immediately. And I mean this. You could literally pause this episode right now and start doing this today. The first part is what I call the right now audit. Here's the analogy. Imagine you are a detective from your favorite detective story investigating your own year. But instead of waiting until the case is cold, you are gathering evidence while it's still fresh. You are going to do a sweep of the last 10 months and capture everything you can remember before those memories fade even more. Block out 60 to 90 minutes this week. I'm serious about this. Put it on your calendar right now if you haven't already done so. This isn't optional, nice to have time. This is strategic career management time. During that block, you're going to create what I call your 2025 wins and lessons document. This can be a Google Doc, a note in your phone, a page in your journal, whatever system you'll actually use. The format doesn't matter. What matters is that you start capturing. Here's what you're going to document. First, your completed projects and initiatives. What did you launch? What did you finish? What did you improve? Don't falter yourself here. If you think it might count, write it all down. You can always edit it later. Second, your leadership moments. When did you step up? When did you have a difficult conversation that changed something for the better? When did you mentor someone or advocate for your team? Third, your skill development. What new capabilities did you build? What training did you complete? What did you learn the hard way that made you better at your job? Fourth, your relationship wins. What key relationships did you build or strengthen? Who did you collaborate with successfully? This matters more than you might think, especially as you advance in leadership. Now, here's a pro tip. Look at your calendar, your email sent folder, and any project management tools you use. These are memory triggers. Scroll through your calendar month by month and ask yourself, what was I working on then? What meetings was I leading? What was consuming my time and energy? Your email sent folder is particularly valuable. Search for keywords like completed, launched, proposal, presentation, recommended, improved. You'll be amazed at what you'd uncover within your email folder. The goal here is not to create a perfect document. The goal is to get everything out of your head and onto paper while you can still remember it. So that is part 1, the audit right now. Part 2 is the weekly capture habit. So now that you have done your audit, you've captured the big stuff from the last 10 months. So that's fantastic. But here's where most people stop. And here's where you are going to keep going. The second part of this framework is building a weekly capture habit that will carry you through the rest of this year and into 2026. Think of this like maintaining a garden instead of planting it once and walking away. You need consistent attention to keep it thriving. Here's what this looks like in practice. Every Friday afternoon or whatever day marks the end of your work week, you're going to spend 10 minutes doing what I call a week in review. Set a recurrent reminder on your phone or calendar. Make it non-negotiable. Block it out. Make sure nobody can book any time with you during that time. This is part of how you close out your week from now on. During these 10 minutes, you're going to add to your wins and lessons document. Ask yourself these 5 questions. 1, what did I complete or make significant progress on this week? Even if it's a milestone within a larger project, capture it. Complete a draft of Q4 strategy presentation. Counts. Resolve the budget discrepancy issue. Counts. Everything counts. Really think through, what did I do this week? Make sure you capture it. 2, what leadership action did I take? Did you give feedback, make a decision, support a team member, have a courageous conversation? Write it all down. 3, what problems did I solve? We solve problems every day, but we rarely give ourselves credit for it. This week, start noticing, what fire did you put out? What issues did you untangle? What crisis did you navigate? 4, What compliment, thank you, or positive feedback did I receive? This one is crucial. When someone says, thank you for handling that so well, or I really appreciated your insight in that meeting, we tend to smile, deflect, and forget. Stop forgetting. Write it down. This is data about your impact. 5. What did I learn? Maybe you learned something the hard way. Perhaps you discovered a better approach. You might have gained an insight from working with a coach or mentor, or learned something new about yourself while speaking at an industry event or conference. Capture the lesson while it's still fresh. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Keely, I barely have time to breathe on Fridays. Where am I going to find 10 minutes? And here's my answer to you, my friend. You are going to find 10 minutes the same way you find time for things that matter. You are going to prioritize it because this isn't busy work. This is not a nice to have. This is your career insurance. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you start doing this weekly, your December review becomes effortless. You are not trying to remember 12 months of work. You are reviewing 12 weekly summaries. It's like comparing climbing a mountain in one exhausting day versus taking a scenic hike with regular rest stops. Same destination, completely different experience. That is part 2. And now we're moving on into the third and final part of this framework. And this is where things get really powerful. This is about turning your documented accomplishments into compelling stories that showcase your leadership value. So this is where you do your strategic storytelling prep. Because let's be honest, a list of accomplishments is helpful, but a well-told story about how you created change, solved a complex problem, or developed as a leader, that is what people will remember. That's what influences decisions about promotions, raises, and opportunities. So as you're building your wins and lessons document, start identifying 3 to 5 stories that represent your biggest impact this year. These are your headline stories, the ones you are going to lead with if someone asks you about your year. For each of these stories, use the widely stated STAR method or framework. This is a structure that turns raw information into compelling narrative. S stands for situation in STAR. So with the S or the situation, here are some things to consider. What was the context? What challenge or opportunity were you facing? Set the stage briefly, 2 to 3 sentences max. Then the T in STAR stands for task. What was your specific responsibility? What were you accountable for? What did you need to accomplish? And then we move on to the A in STAR, which stands for action. This is the meat of your story. What did you actually do? What decisions did you make? What approach did you take? What leadership skills did you demonstrate? Be as specific as you possibly can be. This is where your value becomes visible. And then finally, the R in STAR stands for result. What happened because of your actions? What changed? What improved? Whenever possible, quantify this. Did you save time, increase efficiency, improve team morale, generate revenue, or reduce costs? Numbers make your impact concrete. Let me give you an example of how this works in practice. Let's say you led a project to improve internal communications in your organization. Here's how you might structure that story. The situation is as follows. In Q2, our team was experiencing significant miscommunication issues that were causing project delays and frustration. Survey results show that only 42% of our team members felt they had the information they needed to do their jobs effectively. Task: as the department head, I was responsible for diagnosing the root cause and implementing a solution that worked for a team of 15 people across 3 different time zones. Action: I conducted one-on-one listening sessions with every team member to understand their specific pain points. Based on what I learned, I designed a new communication protocol that included weekly asynchronous updates, bi-weekly team syncs with recorded options, and a centralized project dashboard. I also created templates to standardize how we share information and trained the team on the new system. And then finally, the result is the following. Within 6 weeks, Our follow-up survey showed an 85% satisfaction rate with communication. Project delays due to miscommunication dropped by 60%, and 3 team members specifically mentioned in their feedback that they felt more connected to the team despite being remote. Do you notice the difference and see how much more powerful using the STAR method is than simply saying improved team communication? The STAR method or framework helps you move from vague statements to specific evidence of your leadership impact. And when you're sitting in that year-end review meeting, or you are busy updating your resume or interviewing for your next role, these stories are what set you apart. So between now and the end of October, draft 3 to 5 of these stories. Don't worry about perfecting them yet. Get the bones down while the details are fresh in your mind. And here's a pro tip. As you are writing these, pay attention to the leadership competencies you are demonstrating. Are you showing strategic thinking, change management, emotional intelligence, stakeholder management, or problem-solving skills? Name those competencies explicitly in your notes. This makes it easier later when you need to align your accomplishments with specific job requirements or performance criteria. One more thing before we move on. Don't focus solely on the highlight reel. Include a section for lessons learned from challenges or things that didn't go as planned. This shows growth mindset and self-awareness, 2 critical leadership qualities. Plus, these stories often resonate deeply because they are relatable and authentic. All right, let's bring this all together into a clear action plan you can implement starting today. Action step 1, schedule your right now audit. Open your calendar right now. Yes, seriously, don't wait. Pause this episode if you need to, and block 90 minutes this week for your 2025 wins and lessons audit. Treat this appointment with yourself as seriously as you would treat a meeting with your CEO. It's that important. That is your action step 1. Action step 2, create your wins and lessons document. Choose your format, Google Doc, Notion, Journal, whatever works for you, and set up your document with these 4 sections: completed projects and initiatives, leadership moments, skills development, and relationship wins. So those 4: completed projects and initiatives, leadership moments, skill development, and relationship wins. Then do your audit for each one of these sections. Use your calendar, email, and any other tools to jog your memory and capture everything that you can remember and that you have done from January through now. Action step 3, set up your weekly capture habit. Create a recurring Friday reminder called Week in Review for 10 minutes. Consider making this the last thing you do before you close your laptop for the week. It's a powerful way to acknowledge your progress and transition into your weekend with a sense of accomplishment. Action step number 4, draft your headline stories. Before end of October, identify your 3 to 5 biggest impact stories from this year and draft them using the STAR framework. And if you get stuck, feel free to use your favorite AI tool. Tell it what happened, give it a little synopsis, and let it help you create your story. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for getting the key elements down while they are still fresh in your mind. And then lastly, action step 5, set a year-end prep reminder. Put a reminder on your calendar for 2 to 3 weeks before your performance review and year-end conversation. Whether that's in November, December, January, or whenever your organization schedules them. Because you've been capturing all year, this prep will probably take you maybe 30 minutes instead of several frustrating hours. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about your annual review alone. This practice, documenting your wins, capturing your growth, telling your stories, this becomes the foundation for every important career conversation you'll have. Performance reviews, yes, but also promotion discussions, salary negotiations, job interviews, and even networking conversations. When you can articulate your value clearly and specifically with concrete examples and measurable results, you are not hoping someone notices your contributions. You are making it impossible for them to overlook you. And that's exactly what you need when you're positioning yourself for that next promotion or a senior leadership role. So here's my challenge for you. Don't let this be another episode you listen to and think, oh, that's a great idea, and then forget about it. You know that doesn't serve you. So before this week is over, have that wins and lessons document created and your first audit completed. And have that Friday reminder set up so this becomes part of your weekly rhythm. Now, I need you to hear this. You are doing incredible work. You are showing up as a leader every single day. You are solving problems, supporting people, making decisions, and driving results. That work that you are doing, my friend, deserves to be seen. It deserves to be remembered, and it certainly deserves to be rewarded. But if you don't capture it, if you don't document, and if you don't claim it, someone else will take credit for it. Or worse, it will disappear like it never happened. So your story, your growth, and your impact, they all matter. Don't wait until December to realize you can't remember your own year. Start building your evidence now while you can still see it clearly. As always, I would love to hear how this goes for you. Send me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn and let me know what you discover when you do your audit. I guarantee you are going to be surprised with how much you've actually accomplished. Next week, we're going to talk about how to have strategic career conversations before the year ends. Because once you have documented your value, your wins, your lessons like you are today, the next step is communicating it effectively to the people who need to hear it. Until next week, my friend, I am Keely, reminding you that great communication is the foundation of inspiring leadership. Keep learning, keep growing, and remember to communicate to lead.